Keanu's sharp eye had always been his secret strength. For months, he'd observed that his driver, David, always made a peculiar stop at the same spot every night before heading home. At first, Keanu dismissed it as routine, but gradually, the unusual warmth of the car, furtive glances in the mirror, and an almost palpable silence between them began to tell a different story. One restless night, driven by both concern and curiosity, Keanu decided to follow the trail instead of simply driving away. The moment he turned the corner, his heart raced with a mix of anticipation and unease. What he was about to uncover would move you to tears. Before we dive into the rest of this tale, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to the channel because tomorrow, another unforgettable story awaits. Keanu Reeves had always prided himself on his intuition. Over the past few months, during his late-night rides through the rain-slicked streets of Los Angeles, he'd begun noticing subtle yet unsettling details about his driver, David. Every night, as they navigated the city's quiet avenues, David would make a brief but unusual stop before heading home. Initially dismissed as a harmless habit, the pattern soon revealed itself. The car's engine would run noticeably hotter than usual, David's eyes darted to the rearview mirror with unusual frequency, and a heavy, unspoken silence enveloped the space between them. These details, small as they were, began to hint at a deeper, hidden story. One stormy evening, as the relentless rain transformed the streets into shimmering mirrors and blurred the neon glow of streetlights, Keanu felt an inexplicable pull to investigate further. Instead of heading directly home, he slowed his pace, his eyes fixed on the scene unfolding outside. When the car turned a familiar corner near a deserted gas station, Keanu's heart pounded with apprehension. The car, still slightly warm even after David had turned off the engine, held clues that were too significant to ignore. A small, worn teddy bear lay abandoned on the seat, and remnants of adhesive tape clung to the dashboard, a makeshift marker of something temporary yet profound. In that charged moment, Keanu sensed that there was more to David's nightly pause than met the eye. Unable to shake the images from his mind, Keanu spent a restless night haunted by the details of that evening. The sound of rain, the overwarmed car, and that forlorn teddy bear replayed over and over. As sleep eluded him, memories of his own darker days, nights spent in a car, battling loneliness and uncertainty, slowly surfaced. He recalled a time when a kind older man had given him not just financial aid but the dignity and hope he desperately needed. It was that memory, so vivid and personal, that solidified Keanu's resolve. He could not stand by while David silently bore his burdens. Determined to help without overstepping, Keanu decided to invite David for dinner the very next evening. He sent a simple message, "Pick me up at 7 p.m. tonight. Let's try a new place for dinner." David's reply, a subdued "Yes, Mr. Reeves," confirmed the plan, though the tone carried a hint of hesitation. As the clock struck 7, in the midst of a gently drizzling Los Angeles night, David's sleek black car pulled up in front of Keanu's apartment building. With a warm greeting exchanged, the stage was set for a dinner that would serve as the opening act of a life-changing conversation. They arrived at a small Italian restaurant tucked away in a quiet downtown neighborhood. The ambience was a stark contrast to the cold outside. Warm lighting, rustic decor, and the inviting aroma of simmering tomato sauce filled the air. Seated near a window that framed the rain-washed cityscape, the two men settled into an unexpectedly intimate dinner. Keanu ordered a hearty pasta dish and a glass of red wine, while David, after a moment of quiet deliberation, chose a modest entree paired with a glass of water. As they waited for their meals, the silence between them gradually softened into a tentative conversation. Keanu, sensing that there was more beneath David's reserved exterior, gently inquired about his well-being beyond the confines of their professional relationship. "David, how long have you been with me?" he asked. With a quiet nod, David revealed that it had been over 2 years. However, it wasn't long before the conversation shifted to matters of the heart. Keanu recounted his own struggles, the nights spent without a proper home, the relentless uncertainty of tomorrow, and confessed that he recognized those same feelings in David. Finally, with a heavy sigh, David confided, "It's my daughter, Emily. I've been doing everything I can to hold it all together, but lately, it's been overwhelming." Moved by David's admission, Keanu's tone softened with genuine compassion. "I'm not offering charity, David. I'm offering you a chance, a fresh start," he said quietly. He explained that he had an empty apartment not far away, a safe, modest haven where David and little Emily could find shelter until things got better. Although David's eyes widened with a mixture of gratitude and reluctance, Keanu's steady reassurance made it clear that this was more than an act of kindness. It was a lifeline, a bridge from a past of hardship to a future of hope. David's initial resistance, fueled by years of pride and self-reliance, gradually gave way to acceptance. "I promise I'll repay you for this," he murmured. Keanu's gentle smile broke through. "You already have, David. Just promise me one thing. When you're back on your feet, help someone else who's struggling." In that moment, the unspoken pact was sealed, a mutual understanding that this fresh start was not an end, but the beginning of a journey toward healing and self-respect. That very night, under a sky slowly clearing from the storm, Keanu led David and Emily to the modest apartment. The space was humble but radiated warmth and safety, a sanctuary where the burdens of the past could finally be set aside. David hesitated at the threshold, overwhelmed by the significance of the moment. With a deep breath, he stepped inside, realizing that this was more than just a roof over their heads. It was a new chapter brimming with possibility. Inside, Emily's eyes lit up as she explored her new surroundings. A spare room, destined to be her personal haven, awaited her creative touch. "Daddy, can I have stars on the ceiling?" she asked with innocent excitement, symbolizing the hope that now twinkled in their lives. David, watching his daughter's joy, felt the first genuine stirrings of relief and gratitude. In the weeks that followed, David began rebuilding his life. Keanu's gesture extended beyond the apartment. He introduced David to a small auto repair shop owned by an old friend, a place where David could put his skills to work and rebuild his self-esteem. The shop owner, having heard of David's potential through Keanu, offered him a trial run. The work was challenging, but each turn of the wrench and each repaired engine became a symbol of progress, a deliberate step away from the relentless uncertainty of the past. As David toiled at the repair shop, he discovered that with every small success, the heavy burden of his former life lightened. His colleagues noticed the quiet determination that now defined him. For the first time in years, David felt a renewed sense of purpose and pride in his work. Evenings became a time of quiet reflection for both men. On the apartment balcony, David would often sit and watch the stars emerge, each one a silent testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Meanwhile, Keanu, ever watchful and empathetic, would reflect on the ripple effects of kindness, the way one small act could ignite hope in the darkest of nights. It was during these serene moments that the true value of their connection became evident, a bond forged through shared hardship and the courage to seek a better tomorrow. One crisp autumn evening, as David tucked Emily into bed with the promise of a future filled with wonder, he recalled the pivotal conversation at dinner. He understood, more deeply than ever, that accepting help was not a sign of weakness but an act of bravery, a step toward reclaiming his dignity and rewriting his future. In the gentle quiet before dawn, both Keanu and David made silent pledges to one another. Keanu had given David a second chance not out of pity, but because he knew firsthand how transformative such a gesture could be. David, now more secure and hopeful, vowed that once he regained his strength, he would extend the same kindness to others who might be struggling. "Promise me," Keanu had said, "when you're back on your feet, help someone else who's in need." And that promise, made in the tender light of a new beginning, resonated deeply within David. As the city awoke to another day filled with promise, the three lives, Keanu's, David's, and little Emily's, became intertwined in a shared journey toward healing, resilience, and the unyielding belief that a single act of compassion can indeed change the world.